Listo, brother?
Listo, man.
Good morning, Harrison.
Good morning.
For those of you who don't know us, or maybe you're going to listen to one of our episodes someday, my name's Sterling Kothman, and speaking with me today is my brother Harrison Kothman, little brother. How you doing today?
Kind of the reason why I picked San Angelo was, I was there in school with you at Lubbock, and Dad had called, and he was like, "Hey, I have a road widening project in Buchanan, and a bridge going up in San Angelo, and I've lost my foreman." And he goes, "Is there any way you can cut away from school and come run some crews and put some dirt in for me and for TxDOT?" And I said, "Yeah, no problem." And so I was bouncing on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, and I was either going to Buchanan or San Angelo, and what was hard is the oil field was just booming at that point, and there was no equipment around anywhere, and so it made it really, really hard to run a construction project with no iron, and so I was like, I was sitting there talking to Dad, and I was like, well, we have an opportunity here. We're having issues with suppliers, and let's go buy iron. And so that's kind of how that deal kicked off. And you're right. San Angelo just ironically was kind of in between everything. And I saw like, okay, well, at 4 hours I could be at any point in the state.
Yeah, and then what also was a part of that decision was back then the business was just rentals.
Right.
And we were both naive, thinking that we were going to be millionaires right off the start renting equipment. And I think a lot of that is due to, every time we rented a piece of equipment,
we took care of it.
Well, it was expensive.
Yeah, it was.
And it's still expensive, but now we know why.
Yeah.
And so those were part of those, those tough mistakes and decisions and lessons that we learned early on. And then so from that rental business that we started, which applied to heavy construction mostly, not a lot of light equipment, a lot of large excavators and large dozers and rock trucks. That was all catered to
oil field production, and heavy civil construction.
Yeah, heavy civil construction. And so, moving on from that, we've been doing it at that time. We're looking in middle of 2019, and I'm looking at our books, and I'm saying, this isn't going to work. Our overhead's too high, our equipment's too old, and we're not going to make any money, and we're actually losing money.
Right.
We need to find, if we're going to stay in this business, we have to find a brand. And you were like, I think New Holland, it might be up for grabs.
Well, at that point, there was a company and had it for 15, 20 years in this area.
Yeah, they had it back when it was a Ford dealership and not New Holland.
And the father-son sold out or sold shares, and they went private equity or something like that. And then New Holland decided that they were going to split ways, and so gave us the opportunity to grab it.
Yeah, and in regards to that, left a huge region or territory, if you will, in West Texas. And
Sterling come to me and said, "Dude, we got to do something different." And I said, "Well, I just applied for all these dealerships." And he goes, "How'd you do that?" And I was like, "I don't actually really know. I just Googled a whole bunch and made a lot of phone calls and emails."
And I think there's a backstory to that says, even if you don't know exactly what you're doing,
right,
you had a lot of try,
right,
and that try and what I'd call give a shit,
right,
opened a lot of doors because it was just a passion for wanting to network,
right,
and I'll say that lesson from just always trying to network, always trying to reach people, is what opened that door for New Holland, because we didn't know if we had the finances to make it work. We didn't know if we had the experiences or resources to make it work. But luckily, it fell into place, and we acquired the New Holland brand. Also, me being naive, I didn't know how diverse New Holland's portfolio was.
Right.
On the agriculture side, their portfolio is massive.
Well, we were looking at it from the construction standpoint. We weren't really looking at it from the agriculture. And I remember you coming to me and you're like, this older cat equipment, deer equipment, case, everything else went. And some of it wasn't but 3 years old, 4 years old. And so you're just, it's not sustainable. You can't get reliable technician work on it. You can't, it's so hard to
Well, maybe that you
integrate.
couldn't get I think we could get reliable work from other dealers. It was just how much we had to pay for it.
Right.
And we
You
thought
couldn't in-house it.
to sustain our rental business, we had to be able to get wholesale equipment, wholesale parts,
Right.
Have access to the technology,
Dealer support.
dealer support for it, and it all. In hindsight, that was a great decision on our part.
Well, I remember coming to you and saying, Sterling, New Holland is going to come see us. And you said, why would they come see us? We don't have the building. We don't have the setup.
Well, and I thought it was just another,
ruse.
another, representative of another company just trying to sell us something.
Right.
And, glad that I was wrong and that we did have an interested person
Well, our rep,
in our company.
yeah, I mean, our rep came and he goes, Sterling asked me, he goes, how did you get hold of him? I said, well, I emailed him every day for 3 months. And then I called every day for a week. And then they're like, I probably should just have to recall this guy back, this kid.
Yeah.
And the guy's name was Doug Hagan, right?
Yeah, Doug.
And Doug comes and sits down with us, and we have, what, 4 hour, 5 hour conversation.
It was almost the whole day that he was at our store, and
He looks at us and he goes, do y'all want to proceed? And Sterling's jaw drops. He's like,
I
yeah.
was trying to keep it from dropping. I had to be tough, I was like, yeah, I think we might be interested. I'll let you know. And then he left, and I looked at you. I was like,
How did we swing
wow,
that?
how did we swing this? this guy, interested in 2 kids. At least that's how it felt, anyways.
And I would say to the audience is no matter the age you are, because, I mean, I think when we first jumped into business, like I said, we were 16, 14, you being 16, I being 14.
Craigslist ads.
Yeah, Craigslist ads. And so there's so much knowledge out there to grab, and it's hard. It's hard starting when you're the youngest kid on the block, and you're going to make a lot of mistakes. I would say make friends with your competitors. And any opportunity is an opportunity worth looking into. Not every opportunity is an opportunity worth chasing.
Definitely.
So I would say that would be a mistake that I had to learn, going into it.